This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now then, just a little bit of a conversation piece today, really. I'd just be interested in your thoughts in the comments below, to be honest. As a guitar teacher, conversations that I often have with me students revolve around what their musical tastes are. And, a question that may crop up from time to time is, so what's your favourite album? And people often have, kind of a variety of responses, as you would imagine. But something I've noticed in the past few years, let's say the past 5-6 years or so, is that when I pose that question to, somebody in their teens or 20s or even early 30s, the response, more often than not, is a blank look. It seems to be a bit of a sweeping generalisation, but I'll say it anyway, that that particular demographic of music aficionado or music appreciator or music fan tends to just bypass the whole idea of an album altogether, and it's just all about shuffled playlists on some streaming platform or other. And it seems that possibly, I don't know, but possibly that the whole idea of listening to an album as a suite of tunes with a beginning, a middle and an end might just be a declining pastime. It might be becoming a thing of the past. Now, music is a very, very personal thing, obviously, and I'm not here to criticise the way anybody appreciates their favourite tunes. That's not what I'm about here. What I want to try and do is put forward the case for the album as a concept, whether it's a concept album or just an album, For me, an album puts songs into context, and obviously that is very much the case with some kind of prog rock concept album, but it's also true of less lofty and cerebral collections of tunes as well. For example, when you hear the final bars of the Cowboy song and then that pause and then It's the Life for Me, it has to be The Boys Are Back in Town that follows that. It just has to be, and then you get like maybe an up-tempo shuffle like Walking By Myself. When that kind of finishes, it needs to be that haunting melodic intro to Still Got the Blues. And once you've heard the final chaotic jet engine noises of on the fade out of Back in the USSR, nothing else seems appropriate to come after that other than those kind of soft, reflective opening arpeggios of Dear Prudence. There's much care and thought and attention gone into the running order of the songs on all of the classic albums that are in your collection, and it creates, done right, it creates an ebb and flow of the music that kind of takes you on a journey. You might get an up-tempo foot stomper going into a introspective ballad, going into some kind of uplifting and joyous melody, and then coming out of that into something more introspective and melancholy and somber. And when you listen to an album like that, it has a beginning, a middle and an end, as I say. Albums also encourage you to persevere with songs that aren't an instant gratifying hit. I mean, for example, take a tune like Pink Floyd's On the Run. Would you persevere with that? Would you listen to that if it were just served up in some random algorithm-generated shuffled playlist? Probably not. But Dark Side of the Moon needs that track on there to kind of bridge between Breathe and Time. It's the natural sort of mortar which holds the album together. And likewise, another song that I didn't really kind of get or particularly appreciate when I first heard it, out of context, was Within You, Without You. But you listen to the Sgt. Pepper album as a complete work, and the contrast between that sort of Indian raga-y kind of thing going into When I'm 64, it's as much the contrast between those two tracks as the tracks themselves that makes the album, well, frankly, in my opinion, one of the greatest works of the 20th century. When a song doesn't hit you over the head with a hook in the first 10 seconds, and you hit the skip button, it sort of denies you the opportunity, I think, to widen your musical horizons and expand your musical tastes by learning to appreciate a song that might be a little bit more of a slow burn. Also, I mean, shuffling an album, to me, that is, a bit of an anathema, it has to be said. When I listen to a really good album, if it's done right, if it's kind of put together in the right order and everything just kind of fits like, a jigsaw puzzle slotting together, then it's kind of as satisfying as, eating, a delicious meal. I mean, imagine sitting down to the following meal, custard, followed by mashed potato, followed by prawn cocktail, then jam roly-poly, a fillet steak, then a brandy, and then a plate of green beans. I mean, you've got all of the ingredients and all the components there of a fantastic meal. But would that be as enjoyable as it would be if they'd been placed in the order and the combinations that the chef intended? You kind of get where I'm going with this. Now, I'll admit that I use Spotify and I do have the odd playlist saved, but I just tend to use that for background music, just for something to have on while I'm working, just something to kind of, take away the silence, basically. But when I'm in full-on, musical appreciation mode, it's headphones on, it's close your eyes, and it's listen to an album from beginning to end. And, for me, that is just the best way to appreciate music. That's the way that I get the most out of it. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this? I fully appreciate that I'm a 54-year-old man with the outlook and attitudes that you would expect of, a middle-aged old fart, but I don't care. Music has enriched my life beyond measure and, it has to be said, given me a livelihood. And listening to music in the format of the album has taught me that some of the best tunes aren't necessarily some of the tunes that, are the most instant ones. Some of them, as I said earlier, tend to be a bit of a slow burn and need to be placed in the context of that original suite of tunes that they were envisaged as being part of. If I'd had a skip button when I was 14, rather than a fast forward button where you've got to kind of guesstimate how long to kind of fast forward before you get past the track that isn't really kind of, your favourite on the album at that moment, or, you've got to walk over to the turntable, lift the lid, pick the needle up and place it down on the next track like that. It's laziness, it has to be said, means that you tended not to do that, and as a result, you grew an appreciation of music that, as I say, if I could have just thought, not kind of sure about this, in the first 10, 15 seconds, skip, move on to the next one, and then you get into the habit of doing that, it robs you of the chance to let that particular tune grow on you. And I think, to be honest with you, if the album as a music format, as an idea, is in decline, then that is an incredibly sad thing for the state of music. It will lead, I think, to music becoming blander, and every song having to be that instant hit single that grabs the listener. And, the thing about a lot of tunes like that is, and I'm sure this will resonate with many people, is that a song that is an instant kind of gratification suddenly becomes that song that gets on your nerves because, you can't quite kind of get it out of your head, and it just becomes an irritant. That's happened many, many times to me. Songs that were insanely catchy to begin with then suddenly become something that just kind of, that's the one that you want to skip past. And some of the, as I say, some of the greater songs, some of the more, kind of songs that you learn to appreciate over a period of time, just you hear something new in them every time you listen to them, and you get more out of them as a result. And I think the decline of the album as a format might just be a bad thing if it robs us of that opportunity. As I said, what do you think? Do you still listen to albums from beginning to end and appreciate them like that, or are you more of a playlist surfer? Let me know what you think in the comments. You usually do. So anyway, folks, that's pretty much it for today. I hope I've given you some food for thought, and let me know, as I say, what you think in the comments. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. To me, just ramble away for the last 10 minutes or so, and look after yourselves, stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. See you next time, folks. Bye for now.